And welcome back to Sports the Nemo Way, the Reggie Miller edition. Ray's favorite player. The 6'7", 185-pound shooting guard is a zero-time champ, zero-time MVP. He's a 5-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA, after playing 18 years in the league, being the 11th overall pick, and he is a Hall of Famer. With career averages of 18, 3, and 3 on 47% shooting. So, Ray has him ranked the highest by quite some little bit. So I will kick it to Ray to tell us why Reggie's so great.
All right. It's Miller time. The 6'7" guard from the University of California, Los Angeles. Clutch, sniper, Uncle Reg, the Nick Killer, Killa, Funk, the Mighty Mouse, Reggie Miller. Now, with the proper intro out of the way, let's go over some important sports terms. Clutch performance, or clutch for short, means the phenomenon or athletes under pressure or in the clutch, usually in the last moments of a game, to summon strength, concentration, and whatever else necessary to succeed, to perform well, and perhaps change the outcome of the game. Trash talk is a form of insult usually found in sports events. Is often used to intimidate the opposition and or make them less confident in their abilities as to win easier. Psychological warfare, the use of propaganda, threats, and other psychological techniques to mislead, intimidate, demoralize, or otherwise influence the thinking of behavior of an opponent. Now, with these terms in mind, let's break down Reggie's career.
Page 1, done.
Top 5 clutch plays of Reggie's career. Number 5. It was the year after the finals loss to the Poop Bucket Lakers. They were the 8th seed going against the first seed Allen Iverson 76ers. The Pacers just mounted an 18-point deficit. They were down 2 points. Inbound to Rose to Miller. Miller drains the 3 in Allen Iverson's eye and puts the Pacers up by 1. And that would lead to winning game 1. Number 4 in the 1998 playoffs, Pacers versus Knicks. 10 seconds left to go in the fourth. Reggie hits a 3 to send the game to overtime. Reggie ends the game with 38 points and eventually the series win. In 2002 against the Nets, series tied against the number 1 seeded Nets. They were tied 2-2. This is game 5. It was the fourth quarter, down 3. Reggie banks in an overtime, forcing 3. Then in overtime with 3.1 seconds left, Reggie drives in the lane and one of the most impactful dunks of his career, forcing a second overtime. They did not win the game, but that game showed Reggie will to win and competitive spirit. Number 2, the what did I have here? The push heard around the world, having the balls to test the refs. Reggie pushed Michael Jordan to get some space to shoot the 3, whether it was a foul or not. You have to have ice running in your veins to hit that shot that he did. They ended up pushing the Bulls in Game 7, the only team in the second three-peat to push them to a Game 7. And number 1, 95 versus the Knicks, 8 points in 9 seconds, one of the most epic clutch performances of his of all time. His hits the first 3, boom baby. Then the Knicks inbound to try to inbound to Greg Anthony, falls down. Then dumbass Anthony Mason throws it to Reggie. He had the presence of mind to step back and hit the second 3. Then after the 2 missed free throws from Starks, Reggie grabs a rebound, gets fouled, and ices the game with 2 free throws. Now, let's go to the art of trash talk, with 2 notable moments. The first one where he didn't trash talk the other team. He just scorched him with 25 points in the fourth, while Reggie just embarrassed Spike Lee with a chokesline. Then the moment number 2, where you had to be the most devoted and relentless person at your craft to get the best player of all time to come at you wanting to kick your ass. Now, psychological warfare, most notable against John Starks when Reggie was getting under his skin. All the games that led to John Starks headbutting him, Starks gets ejected, and Charles Oakley and Patrick Ewing almost whooped Starks' ass. With all that said, it takes a special player to make an impact, a special player to make a lasting effect on someone's memory. It takes a special player to up your level of skill when it's needed the most. The 90s had the hardest ever competition. I say competition because today it all buddy ball. Everyone in the 90s played because they were fighting to be the best, fighting for a roster spot, fighting for a paycheck, fighting to play the game they loved. I mean, John Starks was bagging fucking groceries when he got picked up. I say this because it takes a special player to play a different way to win, and Reggie owned all those aspects that most did not. Let's go through some stats. He's 24th in points, 49th in steals, 12th in free throw percentage, 63rd in three-point percentage, 12th in true shooting, 3rd in three-point field goals, 8th in free throws, 13th in games, 12 in minutes played, 18th in win shares, and 9th in offensive win shares. In the playoffs is where Reggie shined the most and stamped his legacy. Now, there may be players with better stats or more accolades, but no player in my view has made a bigger impact on the game as a shooter, a player, a clutch performer. I'd rather have Reggie with the ball at the end of the game than most players on your list. Harden chokes, Westbrook's he's too shaky, and Kawhi he's 50-50 at most. Reggie was cold as ice, and he proved it time after time. You'll have these youngsters on your list. I said they haven't earned it to be on the list. They haven't competed against good enough competition to be on this list. Reggie went against the best, and he hit them head on. Zero fear, so I think it's time to lay my opening statement to rest. So with all this said, this is why Reggie effing Miller is on my top 50 list.
Well, now that Ray has finished the book he wrote for his opening statement.
You're welcome.
Nice intro.
Yeah. I will kick it over to the person that has Reggie ranked the second highest, which is Uncle Doug at 40th overall. So we go from 26 to 40. And Uncle Doug, you have him 9th on your shooting guard list after Ray had him 6th. So, Uncle Doug.
Well, I watched a lot of Reggie Miller games, and I also watched a lot of Reggie Miller at UCLA. And I really liked watching him play. I like the way he plays. I agree with Ray that he is clutch, and that's why he was on my list. Now, through the episodes that we have had so far, I have to admit that some people have made some pretty compelling arguments that may affect the bottom guys on my list, and Reggie is one of them. I still really like Reggie. But when you start looking at guys like James Harden, and again, I agree, James Harden has had some rough times in the playoffs. But I also have to look at guys like Vince Carter, T-Mac. Alex made a very good argument for T-Mac. Wade and Drew made very good arguments for James Harden. And in looking back through some of my stuff, I might have to take a look at David Thompson. David Thompson actually, the problem with Thompson is short career, is why I didn't put him over Reggie. But field goal percentage, Reggie was 47. David Thompson was actually 50%. Now his three-point shooting was not great. It was 25%. But he averaged 3.3 assists to Reggie's 3, 4.1 rebounds to Reggie's 3, 1 steal to 1.1 steal, 0.9 blocks to 0.2, and averaged 22.7 points to 18. So I might have to look at Thompson, but the short games probably not. But T-Mac, Harden, maybe Vince are definitely going to push Reggie at the bottom of my list.
All right. Thank you, Uncle Doug. And that will lead us next to Drew, who has Reggie ranked 47th overall and ninth, so the same as Uncle Doug on his shooting guard list.
Well, my opening statement's not going to be as long as the last two, I'm going to say. I don't have a whole novel over here ready to go, but one of my favorite stories about Reggie, it's more about his sister than it is him. When Reggie gets done having a pretty good game, he gets in the car, he's like, what did he have? I don't remember. It was like, he had like 60 or something. He's like, I had a pretty good game, Dad. And Dad's like, yeah, well, your sister dropped like 100, so.
Yeah. Well, if we're saying, was Reggie as good against the guys as his sister was against the girls, the answer is no.
No, it's not.
Because his sister is one of the greatest female athletes ever.
Yeah, because him and his sister used to go to playgrounds and hustle kids. He'd say, I beat you with my sister. He'd pay.
And then they would.
Yeah, they won a lot of money on the playground.
I think isn't it a 30 for 30 on Reggie or something like that? Yeah.
The winning time.
Yeah, I watched that. I like that. It's a good one.
Yeah, that is a very good one.
Yeah, Reggie is pretty clutch. It was, as Lakers fans, it was at first back in the 80s. You didn't want Larry Bird to shoot a three, but there in that series when they played the Pacers, like, don't let Reggie have the ball at the end of the game. Just don't let him shoot.
You know the thing that always gets me about stuff like what you just said. There's quite a few guys over the history of the league that have been pretty clutch. It's always like, why don't you deny those guys the ball at the end of the game? Like, double team them and denying the ball. Like, why does Larry or Reggie or somebody like that end up, or Mike, end up with the ball with 3 seconds left? Like, let's not let them have I'm just making it sound like it's really easy. Don't let them have the ball.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, double them on the throw in and don't let them get the ball.
Hey, you don't have to go at the inbounder. Just take two. And if Tony Kukoc or Scottie Pippen gets open, I'd rather them shooting than Michael.
Make somebody else beat you.
Exactly. I agree.
Yeah, for real.
I agree.
Yeah, that's all I got for my opening statement.
All right. I have a pretty short opening statement as well, Drew. My overall thoughts on Reggie Miller is he is unquestioned as one of the greatest shooters of all time, and he could be very, very fun to watch. I have fond memories of watching Reggie versus the Knicks in the playoffs as a kid. But unfortunately, he also was a number 2, masquerading as a number 1, which cost his team a lot. He was a star, but not a superstar, a shooter, but not a scorer, and didn't bring anything else to the table, which is why, as we've heard before, I've decided to remove Reggie Miller from my list. Now, that is my opening statement, but as you've probably noticed now, Wade is not here, so you will not be hearing from Wade during this episode. We miss Wade. Wade should be back for another episode after this, but Wade cannot make it tonight, so it'll just hear from the 4 of us. But that being said, I have some questions. First question to Mr. Ray. I appreciate trash talk as much as the next guy. I think watching Reggie go at it with Spike Lee was even more interesting than anything, and even making Mike want to fight him was pretty funny. With no rooting interest in those games, it was very entertaining for me. And it also is something that you are pretty consistent with, Ray. You've brought up trash talk with quite a few players, I think. And I understand that it may draw you to players. But I guess what I'm asking you is does it really have an effect on where you put them?
No, it doesn't have an effect. It's just an extra aspect to their game that, makes me want to put them on the list because, besides the basic basketball skill set that they have, that's just a plus in their game.
All right. Well, I have some questions for all of you regarding some of your rankings and Reggie. And as usual, I'm going to start with Drew.
Well, of course.
Drew, you have Reggie Miller ranked ahead of Ray Allen.
Yeah, I know. I've been thinking about that.
So my question is, why?
Well, here, let me look at Ray Allen's stats, because I haven't probably looked at him since I've made my list.
Well, he's next episode, so...
Yeah, I better be figuring it out here. Let me see here. All right, Ray Allen,
Similar.
Yeah, well, he's got 5 more All-Star appearances. Reggie does have 1 more All-NBA. same points, one more rebound, same assists. That's basically it. Ray Allen's got 2 titles as a number 3.
85.
Would you say as a?
Yeah, I mean, I always say he was a number 3 on the first one. He was a bench player on the second one.
That's true. Yeah, the first one with the Celtics, I'd say he was.
Yeah, he was a major contributor on that team. He
kept them in some of those.
He
games.
actually like pretty much single-handedly won one of those. Which game was it, Uncle Doug? That game he got super hot in the fourth quarter and just killed the Lakers. He shot like 70-some% from 3 and hit like 18 straight points or something in that final.
Yeah, I don't remember which game it was,
Yeah.
but I remember him doing it.
Yeah, he got hot one of them.
Well, I remember him getting hot when he played with with the Heat.
Well,
he had a couple pretty good games.
He was
with them.
coming off the bench.
But he was, he was definitely
I
off
mean,
the
he
bench
did hit
then.
the Game 6 game winner.
Yeah, because you hear
Right.
that James shot, rebound, Bosh, back at the Allen, bang!
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I mean, it's one of the biggest shots in finals
Oh,
history.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Ray was obviously one of the greatest shooters of all time as well, like Reggie.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. They're 2 pretty similar players. I think it came down to I like Reggie Miller a little bit more than Ray Allen, and I think Ray Allen's a little bit better. I'd say a better setup with Celtics and the Heat than those Pacers teams. The Pacers teams. So that's probably why I put Reggie ahead.
all right, fair enough. So my next question is to Ray. You not only have Reggie ranked ahead of Ray Allen, you have him ahead of Clyde Drexler and Jerry West. So my question is, why?
Well, for one, I don't have Jerry West on my list, so of course he's ranked higher than him.
Yes.
And then Clyde Drexler, I mean, yeah, he's good, but I just thought Reggie made more of a, outstanding impact within the 90s. I mean, we seen Clyde Drexler, and he's really good, and he's a great player, but he was more like the low-key get the stats and win a game guy. But for me, I'm biased because that's my favorite player. Plus, he made more of a, nuclear impact because everybody knew that Reggie was there, and you're like, holy shit, Reggie just made this, or he shit-talked somebody else, or something like that. So the impact of Reggie was more outgoing than Clyde Drexler.
Well, I will give you that. I think Reggie was louder than Clyde. Clyde didn't. Obviously, I was a little kid, but I don't remember Clyde doing a lot of talking.
No.
Who all was on Clyde's team when he went to the finals?
We went to the finals with Terry Porter and Kersey and Duckworth and was Kevin Willis on that team?
I don't know.
I don't know. That was the early '90s one where they lost to MJ,
Yeah.
but then he won a title
With the
with
Rockets.
Olajuwon on the Rockets.
Right, yeah.
I was just wondering who was on that Trailblazer team because I remember before that series, someone said Drexler and Jordan are basically the same player or something like. Because someone told Michael that Drexler had they were about the same, if not better than him, and he got mad. I took personal.
And I took that personally.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I guess what I was saying, Ray, is like Clyde, who also has a great nickname, by the way. Clyde the Glide. That's a great nickname.
Mm-hmm.
He averaged more points, more rebounds, more assists, more steals, more blocks, and shot the same percentage from the field. Not as dynamic as a three-point shooter as Reggie, which not many are. So I guess that was, and they played in the same time period. So I guess that's why I was more wondering why Reggie.
I don't know. Just because he was, you heard about him more, I guess, and he's on my team. But I mean, besides the stats being higher, what else did Clyde do? Did he win a title?
Yes, he has a title.
He's got one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, other than that, I don't.
I mean, I can pull up Clyde's rest of his accolades. I don't know. He doubled him in All-Star appearances. Has more All-NBAs. Like I said, a championship. They're both Hall of Famers. Yeah.
Maybe I'm just biased.
I mean, it's fair. I mean, I won't deny you that.
When I saw the 5-time All-Star, I was kind of surprised. I thought Reggie would have been in the All-Star game a lot more than that. I mean, Reggie played quite a few years.
18 years, yeah.
And, I mean, he was the player in Indy. I would think everybody in Indy would have been voting for him, and I was really surprised when I only saw five All-Stars. I figured,
The
8, 10.
90s were so stacked at shooting guard. It was ridiculous.
That's true.
But I guess that's what I'm saying, though, is, like, we're talking about the top 50 players of all time. So, like, if you're a top 50 player of all time, top 10 at your position, I mean, the 90s had some good shooting guards. I'm not going to deny that. But outside of Michael, who was he competing against that we're talking about on this list? Is there another? We have any shooting guards from the 90s outside of Michael and Reggie? Oh, I guess Clyde Drexler. I just brought him up.
Clyde Drexler. That's it on my list. I don't have anybody else.
Man, I'd have to go through the thing.
Everybody else, like the early, if you get to the late 90s, early 2000s, you have AI and Kobe. But then before that, it's just MJ and Clyde, obviously. But Clyde would have been on the Western Conference side.
That's also true.
Because you'd have MJ at shooting guard, and then I don't know who else would be. I'm trying to think.
I mean, you can only really have, what, 2?
Yeah, I think it's 2. Is it 2 at each position?
You get 2 at each position, and then there's 2 guys at the end that can be any position.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't
trying
know.
to think of players.
Yeah, I can't really think of any, really.
I mean, I can think of some shooting guards. Not that I think of all-time greats. So I mean,
No.
Mitch Richmond played during that time.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess I said I could think of some, and now I was lied. I guess Jeff Hornacek played at that time.
I can think of a bunch of Western Conference
I'll
guys.
say Byron Scott.
Byron Scott, yeah.
I don't know.
Reggie Lewis,
Yeah.
Del Curry.
Here, I'll look at some
I just
all-star
thought
teams.
there'd be more
Craig
All-Stars.
Elo.
Well,
Was Blackman playing at that time? Or did he retire early in the 90s?
I'm not sure how long his. I think he played part of the time while Clyde was playing, so he probably would have been there part of the time.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, I guess it doesn't really matter. We're just running around miles about guys in the 90s. But then that's just shooting guards. I was asking you guys about shooting guards. But now this is the first episode where we're talking about a guy that made everybody's list. So we can't just concentrate on shooting guards at this point because we're literally talking about where we ranked them in our top 50 all time. So I had some questions regarding other greats and why you had them ahead of him. I'm going to stick with Ray at first. Ray, you've got Reggie Miller ahead of Charles Barkley, Kevin Durant, and Oscar Robinson. Those are some really big names that stuck out to me, so I guess I would like to pick your brain a little bit on that.
Well, I like Charles Barkley, but I don't feel like he made that big of impact. I mean, he might have better stats, but he's not just like right there. I mean, he didn't win a title, did he?
No, he did not.
No.
Yeah. Like
He does have an MVP, though.
He does have an MVP, yes.
And he went to the Rockets, and they was hoping that was going to continue the Rockets title legacy, I guess.
Yeah, with him
And it really didn't really pan out. I just feel like he's more of one of them silent players too. I mean,
I don't know if there's anything silent about Barkley.
Well,
think about
he's
Charles-
one of the biggest loudmouths in the history.
The thing
of
about Charles
basketball, I
Barkley
think.
was he went to 3 teams and he played for each team for 5, 6 years.
Yeah, it's like really divided up,
Yeah.
evenly almost.
Like, he doesn't really stay in one place long enough for them to get him a team, really. He had that run with the Suns, and then did he start with the Sixers, and then he went to
and
the
the
Suns,
Suns.
and then he went to the Rockets. So I don't know.
I don't know. I guess I didn't really feel like he made that big an impact.
Well, where do you have Barkley on your power forward list?
Drew, where's the list?
I'll look it up for you. All right, Charles Barkley's at 29. So
Because, I mean, while he's looking that up, I mean, Barkley's at, 4 more points a game. Obviously, he's
I think he has him at number 5 on his power forwards list.
Gotcha. Obviously, 8 more rebounds a game, 1 more assist a game, slightly more steals and blocks. Shooting 8% better or 6% better from the field. Barkley's a beast, man. Like I don't know where I'm speaking. I don't know if I'm speaking for I'm not trying to speak for everybody here. But he's an 11-time All-Star, 11-time All-NBA. He's an MVP. He's Barkley's up there for me.
Yeah, he's pretty high on my list as well.
Yeah, let's see where he's at.
I think I've got him at like 19 overall.
I mean, I got Charles Barkley at 29, so it's not like there's that big a difference.
Well, I have Charles Barkley at 32.
I mean, I got Reggie at 26, Barkley at 29.
Well, I'm not really attacking necessarily where you have Barkley. It's just I'm trying to understand what Reggie did that Barkley didn't, or that put Reggie better than Barkley, I guess.
Was Reggie ever in like the top 4 or 5 for MVP votes in any of the years?
I got it over here. Hold on. But I have Barkley at 16, by the way.
Oh, okay.
But as far as MVP votes go, I know he doesn't have many because I brought this up in the T-Mac episode. Sorry, I'm not. MVP. He came in second MVP. No, that's not right. What is that? I don't know what I'm looking at. What is the? Oh, I'm looking at Charles Barkley. That's why it's screwed up. I'm like, he has all these he has the top finishes and stuff. I'm like, why is this isn't Reggie? Because I'm looking at Charles Barkley's page, so my bad. Because I had a win and some second place finishes and stuff, and I was like, Reggie didn't do all this. All right, Reggie got MVP votes twice in his career. In 99-2000, he finished 13th in the MVP voting. And in 97-98, he finished 16th.
Okay.
And that's the only 2 years he received MVP votes.
He doesn't have any all defensive teams, right?
No. And he has a negative. We covered this in the AI episode. He has a negative box plus minus on defense. That's kind of the way I view Reggie. Is he was the leading scorer on a team that cut their teeth on defense. Like, he was the guy that was their leading scorer, but the team was winning on the back of a great defense. I'm not saying to say Reggie's bad. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to say Reggie's bad or that Reggie doesn't deserve to be in the Hall, because I would say Reggie is a Hall of Famer. I just think we've entered a territory that Reggie doesn't belong in. We've gotten too elite for Reggie because he didn't do enough as far as on the basketball court.
Let me ask you guys a question then.
Okay.
So we've established that everybody's taking him off your list, right?
Probably, yes.
I am, yeah.
Probably, yes.
Yeah, I'm at probably. I'm not going to say definite yes. It's a probably.
And Wade said he is.
Yeah, Wade says he's, yeah.
So then what made him go on your list in the first place?
Three-point shooting for me.
I think a lot.
I love to watch
seeing
him
all
shoot.
seeing all the hype. Like, I've never actually seen his stats. Just all his hyped up. I'm like, okay, maybe.
I think a lot of it for me was how much I liked Reggie.
Yeah, too. I
And
Reggie.
how much he dominates the era I grew up watching. Like, not dominates as in like basketball dominates. I mean, like, dominates my thoughts. He was always around.
He was always in the playoffs.
Yes.
He was always on TV.
Yeah.
I mean, the battles with Spike Lee at Madison Square Garden were amazing.
So,
we
yeah,
all saw that. We all loved Reggie.
Absolutely.
Still do.
I mean, the fight with him and Mike.
Yeah.
We all watched not you, Drew, I guess, but we watched the Lakers-Pacers finals.
Yep. Absolutely.
All those things. Reggie was foremost in my mind. I actually dropped him down my list because what I did when I made my list, I might have said this on another episode, I don't remember, was I wrote down what I thought were my top 10 at each position. And then I went and wrote down like 20 guys at each position and started researching. And then I would adjust what I thought my top 10 was according to what I thought about my research and everything. And Reggie was actually much higher on my original rough draft than what it is now because I had to drop him down because of some of these things.
Well, when I did my research, like I just thought in my head shooting guards. I'm like, okay, I put Michael was first. That came to mind. Obviously, he's first on my list. Then I have Kobe second. Well, Reggie was the third one I thought of. And as soon as I saw his stats, I said, oh, he can't be the third best shooting guard. Like, when I saw his stats, I'm like, is this true, Dad? Am I on the right one? Because I'm like, only 18, 3, and 3. Like, that just.
I was surprised.
I really thought his scoring would be up, and I thought his rebounding would be higher too. For as like long and as a shooting guard he was, I thought, but it just really surprised me. And he has all he has is 5 All-Stars and 3 All-NBAs and nothing else. I don't know. It just surprised me a lot.
Isn't Reggie one of the few players, that played the most games for one team? I think he is. I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think he is.
He's up there with it's Reggie,
John Stockton,
Kobe. Those guys. Dirk. Yeah, I thought they were like maybe the top 4. Duncan's probably up there too.
Yeah.
And you kind of like that. You kind of like you identify him with Indiana. You identify him with shooting, and Indiana being such a basketball state, and I remember when they drafted Reggie, the Indiana fans weren't happy.
No, they weren't. They wanted that Hoosier boy, whoever his name was.
Yes, the point guard from Indiana. I'm drawing a blank right now.
Well, don't worry. He wasn't important because he didn't last.
Right, and then, of course, Reggie won everybody over. They bring in the California kid to the Midwest, and they're all like, we want the Midwestern point guard or whatever.
Yeah.
Are we talking about Steve Alford?
Yes, it was Alford, which I liked Alford too.
Who didn't go to the second round.
Yeah. But he was an Indiana kid. He played for Indiana, and the Pacer fans wanted him.
See, we're bad about that too, because we'll like to dip into the Hoosier team every so often. Like Oladipo, we'll get him, and we'll because we've dipped into a lot of Hoosier players from time to time, and we'll trade for them. And like George Hill. Like, we brought him in. He's not from Hoosier, but he's from Indiana College.
Right.
Like, we like to dip into the Indiana pool.
Sure.
Yep. So I have a question for you, Uncle Doug.
Okay.
You have Reggie ranked ahead of KG.
Yeah, I know.
So I was wondering about that a little bit.
Well, again, it probably goes back to how much I liked Reggie. And he won't be there after this is over. I do. I probably have KG the lowest.
I think you do.
Of most people on the power forward list. And it's not that I dislike KG. I just kind of forget about him. Other than the one title with the Celtics, I wasn't a big T-Wolves fan. I didn't see the T-Wolves a lot.
Well, the T-Wolves were never on TV.
Right.
They still aren't.
Now they at least suck. When KG was there, he kept them good.
Right.
But,
they at least
never on TV.
They at least had a dominant player who was close to getting MVP votes and stuff every year. And
well, he was on the MVP list. He got one. He got an MVP. He's got a defensive player of the year. He's got stuff like that. He was always in the All-Star.
He at least makes him relevant.
Yeah.
Now,
and that's probably got a lot to do with it. Just that I saw Reggie more, and that's going to get changed.
Gotcha. Well, I was going to ask Wade why he had Reggie ranked higher than Bob Pettit. Because
he was too scared to argue with me about it. That's why Wade's not here. Everybody.
Wade knows where you live.
That's my story. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it.
Let's see if Wade listens to this episode afterwards.
He's gonna be mad at the trivia.
Yeah. All right. Well, before we move on with more Reggie Miller talk, I have a blind comparison to do, and I'm going to hope you guys can write small and fit these on your boards, or if you need to use both sides, because this is a 4-player comparison. But I am going to give you Reggie, and then I'm going to give you 3 more players, and then we'll go from there. So, obviously, Reggie Miller, 5-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA, 18 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists on 47, 39, and 88. He also had a steal, by the way. Sorry, I forgot about that one. But then I am going to take a player that is older than Reggie, a player that was a contemporary to Reggie, and a player that is currently playing, and compare Reggie to them. So I will go in chronological order. So we're going to go with the old player first, who I will not give you his name. So he will just be player A. And these are all shooting guards, by the way. I did not branch outside of position. This player is a 5-time All-Star, 1-time All-NBA, but he did play a portion of his career prior to the award, so he may have had more. He also, his career averages are 18, 3 rebounds, 4 assists on 45. There's no 3-point percentage. 80, and he also averaged a steal a game for his career. So, obviously, there are some missing statistics there, like 3-point percentage. But yeah. Next, we'll go with a contemporary of Reggie Miller's who played almost, I think they were 1 year apart when they were drafted. So, this person is a 6-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA, and he averaged 21 points a game, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists on 45% shooting, 38%, and 85%. And he also averaged a steal a game. And then lastly is the current player, who is a 5-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA. And his averages are 19, 3, and 2 on 46%, 42%, and 84%. And he also averages 1 steal a game. So there are the 3 players. Does anybody have any guesses, thoughts, opinions on any of this so far?
Rashard Lewis, maybe?
No, like I said, these are all shooting guards. No.
What they got him at then?
He was 6'10", so I don't know.
Holy moly.
Small forward, power forward.
It just confused me because he usually stuck out at the 3-point line.
He did shoot threes, but so did Dirk.
Well, true.
That's true.
Yeah, I have no idea.
No, I'm not sure, but all look, very similar.
Well, I'll help you figure out who the current player is. He's a 3-time champion.
Oh.
Look at the shooting percentages and tell me. And
Can I guess?
Yeah.
Is it Klay Thompson?
It is Klay Thompson.
Oh, go Drew.
He also he's a 3-time champ, and he has all defensive teams.
I was going to say, that's what I'm saying. I'm guessing you were just doing the stats that, just comparing the ones he has to Reggie.
Yeah.
What about the other ones? Yeah, that might help out a little bit.
I don't think none of the other. Well, let's go back here. The contemporary had a Rookie of the Year, but he has a championship, but it's not as a main contributor.
Okay then.
And
D is Clay.
And then the old guy, wherever I put his sheet, he is an NBA champion as a contributor.
Okay.
But he was not the best player on his team. But not by far. But he's come up in multiple episodes.
Yeah.
I'm still not sure.
Is it? No, he probably has two maybe.
We're looking at a guy that played in the 60s and 70s.
I'll take a guess. It's Earl Monroe.
It is not Earl Monroe, although I almost used him. I almost used him instead of this guy.
All right.
But I was trying to find guys that were also shooters.
Yeah.
This guy doesn't have a three-point percentage, but his reputation is as a shooter. We talked about him being one of the original Splash Brothers.
Oh shoot! I remember talking about this, but I can't think of who it is.
With his longtime teammate, Jerry West.
Was it Gail Goodrich?
It is Gail Goodrich.
Oh, okay. Stumpy.
A guy we made fun of in a past episode for not being very good.
Yeah, Stumpy was all right.
And then the contemporary is somebody I mentioned earlier in this episode because we were talking about 90s shooting guards.
Is it
Ray Allen?
It is not Ray Allen.
Is it the Starks guy?
It is not Stark. Stark's actually stats are really, really terrible. It's like 9 and 2 and 0. Like it's 0. It's really bad. Like it's like 0.5 or something. It's really bad.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just go ahead and give it to you. It's Mitch Richmond.
Oh, yeah,
So
Mitch.
he came off the bench for the Lakers team that won one of the Lakers three-peat teams, the middle one, I believe. So yeah, he has that title. So now that I've given you Gail Goodrich, Mitch Richmond, and Klay Thompson, who are at least as good, if not superior than him in statistics, or as good and superior to him in accolades and awards, does that open any conversation to anything?
60s were shitty. Mitch Richmond never really made an impact on any team he played on. And Klay Thompson really couldn't win a title without at least 4 All-Stars on a team.
Well, the Warriors have been struggling more without Klay, so he probably plays a bigger role than what we probably give Klay credit for, I would say, with the Warriors. I think he's one that gets overshadowed underneath the Steph hype, and then when KD was there.
No, I'm not saying he's not good, but I mean, it took 4 All-Stars to start a dynasty.
Well, they didn't start the dynasty.
Well,
Durant wasn't there at the
But
beginning.
those first years when it was younger Steph and Klay with Draymond and Iguodala and Harrison Barnes, I would say that was probably their
Drew,
best.
you got to quit turning your head away from the mic,
it's
bro.
bad. It's really bad today, guys. I'm sorry. But yeah, I would say that one was probably their best title, their first one they got when they were all younger still.
Well, I think it was their most impressive title.
Yeah, beating LeBron.
Well, and really, to be fair, I would give Klay a step up because of his defense.
He is the best
Klay
defender
is
of all these guys.
a lot better defender.
Klay gets
I
asked
think,
to
than
go
Reggie.
guards, the best player on the other team, and then he still has to go down the other side and shoot. I mean, most of the time it's spot-up shooting, so he doesn't have to, like, run off and create his own shots like Reggie does, but he's still asked to be able to play both sides of the floor, not just one.
So when you say you've brought up impact multiple times tonight, Ray, what do you mean by impact?
Like what they bring to the game.
Well, we've talked multiple times
I mean,
about Reggie only brings one thing to the game.
Well, I mean, so did the whole Golden State team. All they did was shoot.
Well,
I mean, any one of them could have made a, final second shot, but big deal. I mean, Reggie was doing it by himself.
Well, I agree. He didn't have the teammates that some of the Warriors were talking about. He doesn't have the teammates of these guys. I don't.
No.
That's one of my questions, though, is why didn't Reggie put up bigger numbers if he didn't have another scorer?
So that's what I thought. I thought Reggie's points would at least be in the 20s.
Well, let me tell you how the Pacers build their team.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the classic style. You have the center, you have the guard, you have the point guard, you have a small forward, you have the power forward. Everybody else is doing some crazy shit. Like Golden State's got 5 shooting guards on a team.
Right.
Reggie was the only shooting guard, and everybody else is playing, classic basketball of pass it to the center. We got the point guard assisting. Reggie shot. Dale Davis rebounded. And that's how the teams have been made up since the beginning of time.
I don't disagree with any of that, but what I'm saying is if you are the leading scorer and there's no other big-time scorer on your team, why aren't you putting up huge scoring numbers is what I'm saying.
Well, that's what I just said. I mean, that's how the team's set up. He's not out there, trying to be Michael Jordan. He's out there playing on a team that's coached by classic Indiana basketball.
No, I get that, but if he's not maybe I guess what I'm really getting at is maybe he should have done that and maybe they would have won more.
Definitely on that, but
because I guess what I'm saying is when you're it's not like anybody else on his team was as good a scorer as he was.
Right.
We're
also a small market, and we're not out here paying luxury taxes and shit for all-star players on a team either.
I agree. You're talking to an Orlando Magic fan.
Right.
I know what small market's about. I understand. And I'm not saying that he didn't, do some cool things. I guess what I'm saying is I'm trying to figure out why Reggie didn't put up bigger numbers. And I'm trying to figure out what he did that Mitch Richmond didn't do when Mitch Richmond's stats were better and really he was just as good a shooter. Statistically.
Mitch Richmond didn't really make the playoffs.
Yeah, he only made the playoffs a handful of times in his career. You're correct.
And then also check Reggie's playoff stats, and you'll see what level he was on when they actually got there.
Well, I have him here. Just a second. His playoff stats are 22-2.
Was that an average?
Yeah, and
so we got seasons of 27, 31, 25, 29, 31, 24. So I'm just trying to get at that. It might be low key in the regular season, but he goes to a mile and a half better in the playoffs.
Oh, I'm not saying he didn't have some great playoff series. He did. But I'm sure if we talk about any of the guys we're just talking about, I'm sure they had some great playoff series over the course of their career. Reggie had some great series, some great moments in the playoffs, but he didn't really phenomenally up his game. His shooting percentage goes down 3% in the playoffs. He did score 2 more points a game in the playoffs than he did in the regular season, but his assists and rebounds go down. I'm not trying to say Reggie sucks. I'm really not.
No, I know what you're doing, but we're cool.
Well, I'm not worried about you coming over here and whooping me. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to pick on Reggie. I think Reggie's a Hall of Famer. I'm just trying to wrap my mind around some of this. What I was trying to do with my comparison over here was just be like, hey, there's lots of guys that put up these same numbers or similar numbers and done more with it with championships and awards and everything. So what's the difference between them and Reggie? And I get you don't like the 60s and 70s. That's fine, and none of us seem to be too huge on today's game. But Mitch Richmond is a contemporary of Reggie's. That's why I included all three. And he was doing a lot of good things there.
He was, but
on a crappy Sacramento franchise for a lot of it.
And I think that's probably why I didn't think about Mitch, because back then we didn't see Mitch.
Yeah, you're right.
Right. You just didn't see him in the playoffs. Reggie was always in the playoffs, and Mitch playing in Sacramento at that time in the West, with some of the powerhouse teams that were out there at that point. And maybe just didn't see Mitch.
And maybe if I was a Kansas City or a Sacramento fan, I'd be like, okay, let's go Mitch Richmond. But that's not where I'm
really should have thought more about Mitch because Mitch played at K-State, didn't he? And I believe Mitch also played at Mobile Area Community College.
Well, he played at K-State.
I think years ago they used to stash players at Mobile Area Community College. I know Mizzou did it. And I think Richmond may have played for a year or so at Mobile Area before he went to K-State.
Oh my!
If he did, that'd be crazy. By the way.
Yeah. And because that's always kind of in the back of my mind. I always kind of watched a little bit about Mitch because he was from, remember him being around a little bit. Yeah, that's a good comparison. I didn't realize Mitch had those kind of numbers.
I mean, in those years in Sacramento, he's 22, 22, 23, 22, 23, 26, 23.
Yeah, he was definitely a scorer.
And that's my thing with Reggie, too, is Reggie's not a scorer. Reggie's a shooter. And
Right.
he didn't take anybody off the dribble, and he had to have the offense catered to him to be successful. He should have been a number 2. They should have brought in a guy like Mitch Richmond or Michael Jordan or somebody that would be a dominant scorer and let Reggie play the Klay Thompson role where he's a spot-up shooter. He comes off a screen and shoots. Because think back to watching that, the point guard stood and dribbled the ball and tried not to get it stolen from him, waiting for Reggie to run off 6 screens.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
I was just saying, when I think back about those Indiana teams, I think about the point guards. Wasn't it Mark Jackson? Didn't he play?
It was Haywood Workman, and then we'd work in Byron Scott from time to time, and
Right.
then we had Mark Jackson, and then
Mark
Travis,
Jackson
and
was just
Travis
for a
Best.
couple years, though, right? Mark Jackson was only there for 2 or 3 seasons, right?
It was the 95 that last Knicks season, and then he worked his way up to the 2000 series.
Because he was there for the finals.
But they also had Jamal Tinsley for a couple years.
Yeah, well, we had T.J. Ford, and we had some subpar guys, but Mark Jackson.
I always
probably the
remember
big
them
one.
having at least a solid point guard.
Yeah,
I remember Davis at power forward. They always seemed to have centers.
Rick Smits.
Yeah, but I can't think of a small forward really so much.
Derek McKee.
Okay, I remember him
Yeah.
a little
Well,
bit.
Jalen Rose was there for a few years.
We had Mullins on the bench. We had Austin Crozier come in off the bench too.
Forgot about Austin Crozier.
Six man of the year.
Right.
Yeah.
If they would have brought in another guy, like you said, like Mitch Richmond, so he and Reggie could play shooting guard, small forward interchangeably, Pacers might have won the title. If you get that extra scorer in there with the center that they had, the power forward that they had, and a distributor.
Well, would you say the 2000 team is the best team Reggie ever played on?
It's probably borderline mixed in with that Malice and Palace team.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. I mean, because they only played together for 7 games.
But
So,
I mean, Reggie was hurt a few times throughout that season. But I mean, that was probably one of the best Pacers team was the Artest and Jermaine O'Neal and the Steven Jackson.
well, the reason I ask was, that season, the season they made the finals against the Lakers, Reggie wasn't the leading scorer on the team. That was kind of like feeding into my point there. Jalen Rose was.
Well, Jalen was also the youngster the upstart from the Nuggets as well. Reggie'd always played probably 13, maybe 10 seasons at that point.
So did they move Jalen play shooting guard and Reggie play small forward at that point?
Really, Jalen ran the point a lot.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see that.
and-
Because Jalen did that other times, too.
Because I do believe he led the team in assists as well that season, but I could be wrong. Let me look. No, Mark Jackson did, but he was second in assists. All I'm saying is like they stopped catering the offense around Reggie, and the team did better. And I don't think Jalen Rose is the answer. I like Jalen Rose, but I don't think he's the answer to this. But I'm saying, like, if it was a legit star they did that with, not Jalen Rose, maybe the team really would have been great.
I mean, maybe. I mean, we've seen that with the Bulls documentary where it was who was Michael's first coach. They started. He was the one that
Collins, wasn't it?
Yeah, Collins.
Yeah, Doug Collins.
And they just wanted to give it to Michael the whole time, And then we get the Phil Jackson. It feels like, no, we're going to have a team here, and we're going to pass the fucking ball around. So, I mean, all these teams are set up, differently. Like we talked about a few episodes ago with Allen Iverson. It was all catered to Allen Iverson, all about him just running around the floor doing his thing. I mean, yeah, maybe things changed up. Maybe we'd win more. I mean, it's all what if, but it's all about the coaching and the building of the team along with the star players.
No, I get that, but if the offense was built around Reggie, you would think Reggie'd be challenging for scoring titles. You know what I'm saying? Like if the offense is catered around Reggie Miller and getting him the ball to score, you'd think Reggie would put up dynamic scoring numbers. And he just wasn't.
I mean, you would think that, but we also had the Dutchman at center.
Yeah, but I mean, you're talking like 12, 15 points a game, not 25.
Well, I mean, like I said, they built a team in Indiana.
I get that, but what I'm saying is nobody else on the team scored.
How many points did Indiana during this time period average as a team?
Well, that's a crazy thing. I got the 2000 one pulled up, and 2000 they averaged 101, which was fourth in the NBA.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, somebody was scoring something.
Well, that was the year. Like I said, Rose was
Jalen Rose
20.
was there. Yeah.
And let's see who else was scoring on that team.
So if you're going to the offense catered around Reggie, like if you want to say like AI for example, he was averaging 26 and he was competing for. He has 4 scoring titles and he got an MVP during that time.
Yeah.
I would say.
There's a lot of. I mean, there's not a lot of big scores. Reggie and Rose, and then you got Smith's averaging 13 and Crozier averaging 10 and Dale Davis averaging 10, and nobody else is in double digits. Yeah.
So they were getting points from a lot of different people.
They were. I mean, it was spread out all over the place.
It was a team, like Ray said. But
no, it is a team. I'm not trying to say they weren't a team, but if you're the best player on this team and the only guy that's a good scorer, I guess what I'm saying is I would just expect you to put up bigger numbers.
Yeah, I have to admit I was surprised when I saw Reggie's scoring. I thought it'd be a lot higher than it was.
And if you're only gonna score this much, then why not do something else? You could contribute another way. He didn't rebound. He didn't assist. He wasn't a good defender. Like that's my knock, I guess, is just like, well, you weren't a superior scorer. You were good, not great scorer, but you weren't bringing anything else to the table. I know in a past episode we said that, that was other people's job, and I get it to an extent, but you got to contribute to winning at some point. Like, I'm only going to shoot, 12 times a game, but I'm also not going to do anything else. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird to look at.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty peculiar, but that's how the Indiana teams were built.
But we've seen big-time scorers in Indiana.
Who?
Paul George.
No.
Victor Oladipo. I mean, they both scored more points a game than Reggie in Indiana.
Yeah, but Paul George didn't do anything in the playoffs. He just shit on himself.
I mean, not at that time, though. At that time, they were the second-best team in the East 2 or 3 times.
They were, and then he couldn't contain. I mean, he was a good defender. I'll give Paul George that. Yeah. And he could score, but he just sucked in clutch time, and he just shit on himself at all times.
I don't know that is actually true in Indiana. It was kind of true post-Indiana.
Yeah.
Not necessarily this year, but, I mean, last year and the year in OKC, I think it is.
Playoff P.
But, I mean, we're not talking about a guy that was winning titles. We're talking about Reggie Miller. We're talking about he didn't win anything either.
Right.
So, I mean, we're talking about guys that just did the same thing. They made the playoffs and lost.
Right. But, I mean...
So, what's the difference?
Well, you really got me in a box here, Alex. Thanks.
And they both had a team around them with Roy Hibbert at center and David West at small forward and Lance Stevens.
And
who else?
George Hill.
George Hill, yeah. I know those Pacers teams that play the Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals. I think they did it twice, I think. Yeah, I remember that 'cause I was rooting for the Pacers.
Well, I mean, I rooted for the Pacers every time they matched up with LeBron in the playoffs. I was
Oh, yeah.
I was so
I
disappointed when they would beat the Pacers.
I root for anyone before he came to the Lakers against LeBron.
Well, I'll put it to you this way, Ray. Paul George averages more points, more rebounds, more assists, more steals, more blocks. He does shoot a lower percentage from the field, but he almost shoots as well from three, very close, and almost as well from the free throw line. Paul George has more All-Star appearances, more All-NBAs. He's a 4-time All-Defense. He got a Most Improved Player of the Year. Didn't he just make the conference finals?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
With Kawhi hurt.
Without Kawhi, yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think Paul George is necessarily what you're painting him as.
You're being a butthole right now. F you.
I mean, he does have a season where he averaged 28. And he got MVP votes at least that season. I don't know if he got more seasons than that, but he's had MVP voting seasons.
Well, let's talk about the whole Pacers era. Where's Danny Granger at? That shithead too.
Danny Granger, huh?
Let's bring Danny Granger
You're
out.
right. Before George got there, Granger was averaging like 25 a game.
Yeah, let's bring him
You're
up.
absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Let's bring Granger up. Come on.
All right, I got him.
Oh, boy. Here we go. We're getting fired up.
Oh, yeah, I like it. This is great. Danny Granger in Indiana. I mean, his first couple seasons aren't very good, but then it's 19, then 25, 24, 20, and then he gets hurt and his career is pretty much over.
Yep.
But, I mean, he had, I mean, especially their back-to-back, 25 and 24.
He was balling. Excuse me. He was
And
balling out.
He shot 40% from three one of those years.
Yep.
So I'm not trying to be mean, Ray. I'm really not.
No, I know.
I just don't think it's one of those things of like Indiana doesn't let one guy score a lot because it just doesn't seem to be the true.
No, because we're just a team. We're just a team basketball because we don't have any money to pay 3 players. That's just how it goes. And then sometimes you get stuck with a player. You got to work with them.
No, I agree. I get what you're saying, but what I'm saying is if you can't pay 3 players, then I'm going to feed my one great player the ball.
And that's what they did. They fed Reggie the whole time, and
Then why did he only average 18 points a game?
because it's all, I don't know, man. I'm not the coach here. I'm not Larry Brown, and I'm definitely not Larry Bird.
All right, well, we'll quit picking on Ray.
Thank God.
Let's all give our closing statements and move on to trivia. Sound good?
Yep.
That'll work.
Yeah.
All right, well, we want to start reverse this time and go with me, the lowest rated person.
Sure.
Like I said, I like Reggie. I remember him fondly from my childhood. I've just, through research and information and looking at players I may not have looked at as much, I have just decided that Reggie no longer has a place on my list. And I think I've pretty much laid out a pretty good argument for that tonight. And that's all I'll say about Reggie. So I guess that will lead me to Drew.
Well, yeah. Like I said earlier, he was the number 3 shooting guard that I looked up. I think when I saw his stats, it really just, I don't know, just kind of hit me really hard because I was not expecting that. I'm not going to lie. I don't know, it really surprised me. I thought Reggie would have a lot more points, a couple more rebounds and stuff like that. I thought he'd have more All-Stars and more All-NBAs for all the years Reggie played. And, yeah, it was pretty underwhelming to me when I looked at Reggie all together now. But I still love Reggie and all this stuff, so he probably won't be on my list, though, Ray. It's a probably. I don't know. I still got to find someone to replace him. If I can't find anybody, yeah, he might make it. But he's definitely going below probably Ray Allen now. I'll probably say that. All right.
Okay.
And Uncle Doug.
Okay, well, again, I think I liked Reggie. I loved watching him play. I loved those Knicks series. When Reggie retired, he had made the most threes. He was one of the first ones you really think about doing that. Of course, Ray Allen and Steph have passed him since then. And like Alex, through research and other episodes, I'm pretty sure Reggie's coming off my list. Doesn't mean I don't like him. They don't respect him, but I think other guys have passed him.
And finally, Ray.
Reggie, I had a mouthful for you. 6 pages worth. I love you, bro. You are the greatest. You're my childhood. You're not coming off my top 50. That's all I got to say.
Reggie will make a list.
All right. Well, that will end our Reggie Miller portion of the episode and move us into trivia without Wade so we can cut into this league.
Hey. Hey.
And if you're listening, we're all going to ask really easy questions to screw you over. So, Drew, you got a question?
I do have a question, like always. All right. Kareem is number 1 with most conference finals by an appearance at 13. 2 people have 11. Who are they?
All right.
Can I get a repeat of the question?
Kareem has 13 conference finals appearances, and then there's 2 people that have 11. Who are they?
All right. I'm guessing, but I feel like they're educated guesses.
Yeah, I got to guess.
Ray?
Yep, I'm locked.
All right.
I put Russell and Duncan.
Okay.
I said Russell and Sam Jones.
Okay.
I said Russell and James.
It is LeBron James and Derek Fisher.
Derek
D.
Fisher.
Fish? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, man.
Magic Johnson has 10. Duncan and Shaq have 9. And then the list stops there.
Russell won 11 championships. How do you not make 11 conference finals?
Did they have conference finals?
Yeah, I don't know.
I just thought of that.
there's
They
no-
may not have had. They may have
There's
just been
no
all.
old guys on this list.
Right. They may not have had conference finals.
Yeah, okay.
It might have been a small enough league that they just went.
I just thought Russell was an automatic.
Me too.
I wrote him
Yeah.
down immediately, and
Yeah.
I thought about the other
I did
one.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm guessing they probably didn't have conference finals since there was like, what, 8 of them?
Well, that's true.
Because there was someone I was looking at the Bob Pettit stuff. He'd play the Lakers, and then it'd be the NBA championship. So there's one round.
Yeah.
So
That's
that-
true. That's true.
Yeah. Didn't think about that. Good question.
All right, who would like to go next?
I'll go.
Okay.
Oh, shit. Which two players, won NBA championships with 3 different teams?
3 different teams, huh?
2 players won championships with 3 different teams.
Wow. I feel like I'm going to feel dumb in a second, but I'm just drawing a giant blank here.
I've got one.
I got one. I got one for sure. I think.
Yep.
But I'm trying to think of the other
I've
one.
got one. No. Oh. Trying to think here.
Wow.
He's got multiple championships, but
I've got 2 now, but I still. You said 3, right?
No, 2 players.
Oh, I got 2 then. Okay,
Yeah, I got
I'm
2.
ready. Sorry.
I'm ready.
I was
I'm
trying
so
to think.
happy I thought of him.
All right. Mine are LeBron and Ori.
Yep. I got LeBron and Big Shot Bob.
LeBron and Big Shot Bob, baby.
The answer is Robert Ory and John Sally.
Well, LeBron did it.
LeBron did. He did
Yeah.
the Cavaliers, the Heat, and Lakers.
Well, that's not on my question answer guide.
Well, maybe this book was written before he won with the
Before-
Lakers.
Yeah, maybe
Scott
that's
came out
true.
before, and I forgot about John Sally, because
Yeah, that was-
Sally won with the Pistons.
And the Bulls.
And he won. Didn't he win? Wasn't he on the Lakers? Wasn't he a sub on one of the Lakers teams that
yeah,
won?
man.
I think
Or,
he was.
or was it the Spurs?
I think he played for both, but I'm not sure
Hmm.
what years.
All right.
Good.
Well, I'll give you guys that one. I mean, y'all proved the 3.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll take it.
Yep, and Wade's lead has been cut into.
Not enough, mind you, but
Big Shot Bob.
Well.
Vlade Divac saying that was pure luck. What a turd.
I guess I'll go next. Ray actually cut into my trivia question because I was going to ask how long it took Reggie to score the 8 points against the Knicks, and you already gave it away.
Uh-huh.
The 8.9, the 9 seconds. But I have a backup. There are 8 guys in the 50-40-90 club.
Yes.
50% from the field, 40% from 3, 90% from the line. It's Bird, Kevin Durant, Steph, and Reggie. That's 4 of them. Name one of the other 4. And I just gave you Bird, Durant, Steph, and Reggie. Okay?
So can we guess up to 4 other guys or just one?
Yeah, all you have to do is get one of them.
Okay, so I can put 4 down. Okay. Oh.
I'm ready when everybody else is.
1 second. I'm trying to think of 2 more. Just for guesses. See if I can get one. Oh, what's his name?
I am also trying to get all 4 of them.
Okay.
So I have 4 names written down.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get 4 down so I have a higher percentage at least get one. Try and give me a point here.
How about you, Ray? What are you doing?
I'm good.
All right. Let's see them.
All right, I've only got 3. That's all.
All right, I got Brogdon, Nash, Middleton, and Dirk.
I have
Okay.
Ray Allen, Seth Curry, and Klay Thompson.
Well, now Steph Curry I gave you.
I said Seth.
Oh, Seth. Okay,
Seth.
sorry.
All right. I have John Stockton, Karl Malone, Tim Duncan, and Michael Jordan.
Oh, okay, so I gave you Bird, I gave you Durant, I gave you Steph, and we had Reggie. It's Mark Price,
Oh, okay.
Steve Nash, and Alex got Nash,
Okay.
Dirk, which you also got, and Malcolm Brogdon.
I'll be damned.
Middleton did this year.
Oh, he did it this year?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's why I
well,
wrote it
again,
down.
my thing might have been old enough that it wasn't on there. So, yeah, interesting group.
Honestly, I think the 50-40-90 club is an indictment on today's NBA. Like, it was the rarest club there was. Like, nobody could get into it. And
Right.
now, in the last few years, guys are flooding into it. Even role players like Brogdon and Middleton are
Right.
joining
Yeah,
the
getting there.
50-40-90
Mhm.
club. Like, it's...
That's why I guessed Seth Curry because I thought he might.
Well, he's a good shooter, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, so that was me, right? I got
Yep.
that one?
Yep, you got that one.
All right, so it's my question now. So, in the 2021 season, yeah, I know. I think everybody knows who the top 2 players in triple doubles were: Russell Westbrook and Nikola Jokic. Who were 3 and 4?
You gotta try to think of someone who was healthy.
That is true. This season
I
was
can think of
devastated
people.
with injuries.
I can think of people who've got like triple doubles, but people that were actually healthy.
All right, I got to guess.
I'm locked in.
Drufus.
I'm ready.
All right, what you guys got?
I said Luka and Giannis.
Luka and Kawhi.
I said Giannis and Damian Lillard.
Well, number 3 was James Harden.
Dang
Oh,
Even though he didn't play the games, he still did it.
Okay.
And the number 4 was Luka.
Okay, well, we got half right.
Luka was one, but I didn't think. I thought James Harden got hurt, so I didn't know.
You
how
know who
many-
number 5 was?
Who?
Sabonis. And then Giannis.
Okay.
But yeah, actually Harden only had 4 less triple doubles than Jokic
Wow.
in 44 games, and Jokic played all 82.
Yeah. Harden, he's changing.
All right. Well, after today's tallies, the scores are as follows. Ray has 18. Doug and Drew have 37. Alex has 39. and Wade has 48. Wade didn't get any points tonight.
No
Let's
points for
go.
Wade.
Wah, wah.
Drew and I gained 1. Alex gained 2.
Yeah. All right, so Wade's lead was cut into. Even if it's unfair, I'm still counting it.
That's right. Hey, it's his fault he's not here.
That's right. So we appreciate you tuning in to listen to the Reggie Miller episode. And we would also appreciate you tuning in next Thursday for the Ray Allen episode. And no, we didn't put 2 of the greatest shooters back-to-back on purpose. It was just happened to be how it was. We appreciate your listening to Sports the Nemo Way.